Ah, the classic would Derek and Meredith have lasted if the writers didn't decide to rip him away? Debate. Here's the thing. They probably would have ended up divorced anyway. And I don't say that because I want to crush any romantic dreams, but let's be real, there was a whole lot of resentment, jealousy, and toxicity in that relationship from the start. I get it, they were the couple for so many fans. Meredith and Derek were the couple everyone rooted for, and when they killed him off, a huge chunk of the fanbase basically threw in the towel. But let's face it, Meredith wasn't just going to be the woman standing behind her man forever. She started growing into this incredible doctor, and her ambitions would have eventually clashed with Derek's. The woman who said, "If I have to choose, I'm going to pick me. I pick my kids and what's best for us. And I'm not going to beg you to love me," is not going to stay in a relationship where she's constantly fighting for attention. Honestly, if I'm being totally honest, they should have divorced after Meredith messed up the Alzheimer's trial. That was the catalyst for so many of their long-term issues. And when you add in the fact that they were in completely different places in their careers from the very beginning, it's a disaster waiting to happen. But I'm also not totally heartless. I do think there was a window where, if Derek had stayed, things might have been in a better place between them. By the time he left, their marriage was actually in sync for a moment there. But let's not kid ourselves, realistically, they'd have ended it eventually. What crawled up Teddy's ass? I'm watching the new season, and honestly, I can't understand why Teddy is being so nasty to Ben. I get that the chief of surgery has to be tough on surgeons sometimes, but she's consistently harsh and rude to Ben, episode after episode. It's honestly making me wish Weber would come back as chief. All Ben wants is to help people, and especially after the heat wave, when he proposed a solid solution for handling future casualties. You'd think Teddy would appreciate that. But no, she seems to have some personal vendetta against him, and it's honestly getting old. What y'all aren't seeing is that Ben is acting way too cocky for someone who has never had any real authority at the hospital. His solution for the heat wave sounded good in theory, but guess what? It ended up overwhelming the hospital, and Teddy had to deal with the mess. Ben doesn't face the consequences, Teddy does. And on top of that, he directly disobeyed her order to close the hospital to new intakes, which only made things worse. He thought his way was better and didn't give a damn about what she said. I'm torn on whether Teddy's issue with him is because she thinks he gets special treatment because he's married to Dr. Bailey, or she's trying to make it crystal clear that he gets no special treatment. Maybe it's her way of ensuring people don't think he's getting any perks because of his wife, so they'll respect him more. Or maybe she's just being a giant pain because she likes to take her personal issues out on people. But seriously, let's not forget that he directly disobeyed her, which led to the hospital being even more overwhelmed. That's why she's mad. She's the chief of surgery dealing with a resident who thinks he's above it all. This is the same guy who, on Station 19, announced that he wasn't a regular probie, as though being a doctor somehow made him more qualified to fight fires. And then he's the one who half-asses tasks because he thinks his way is better and ends up causing problems for everyone else. He even got snippy with Winston when he was treated like a regular resident, as if he couldn't handle the same tasks as the others just because he's got more experience. Oh, this is fun. Let's break it down with some sarcastic flair. Cristina and pediatrics. No thanks. Cristina's idea of comforting a patient is probably a sharp, "You'll be fine, just don't die on me," while a pediatrician needs to be able to get on the floor, play with toys, and somehow act like they care about a room full of snotty noses. Definitely not her scene. Plus, her ability to not suffer fools means she'd be at odds with half the parents who think their kid is a little angel sent from heaven. Izzy and plastics. Oh, absolutely, Izzy would thrive in a world where everyone is obsessed with perfection. Just kidding, she'd burn out faster than a beauty influencer on their 12th skincare routine. Izzy's whole vibe is I'm here to save leaves, not just to look pretty, and the idea of focusing solely on appearances. She'd probably throw a punch before even getting to the oar. Too many reminders of the way she was constantly objectified. Yeah, no. Arizona and cardiology. Arizona, the warm, bubbly ray of sunshine in cardiology. That's a disaster waiting to happen. Her easygoing personality might actually make her a great pediatric cardiologist, but a cold, cutthroat heart surgeon? Yikes. She'd get eaten alive by those intense, I don't have time for feelings cardiosurgeons. She'd be over there talking about feelings while they're trying to revive a heart. Cristina and plastics. Okay, let's be real. Cristina would rather set herself on fire than spend hours working on someone's face or boob job. Charm and sensitivity are not her strong suits. She's more of a shut up and do surgery type. Plus, dealing with the narcissism and fragility of some patients, it'd drive her absolutely nuts. She'd be like, is this real life? Why are we spending all this time on someone's nose instead of saving leaves? Izzy and OB/GYN. Let's be honest here, Izzy would go overboard with her compassion and investment, and it would turn into a full-blown meltdown. Watching her try to handle the emotional roller coaster that is OB/GYN would be a sight. She'd either become too emotionally invested or get completely overwhelmed by the drama of it all. Imagine her trying to keep it together under Addison's iron fist. Izzy would be sobbing in the corner in no time. Cristina and OB/GYN. Oh, Cristina would never. She's already barely able to tolerate the emotional needs of adult patients, let alone dealing with the roller coaster of OB/GYN, where every moment is either a life and death situation or an emotional meltdown. She'd probably ask, why is everyone crying? We're saving a life, people. Yeah, not gonna happen. Cristina and PEDS. Cristina might actually do okay here, but you know, she just barely fake it. There's no way she's going to deal with the endless hours of cuddling or playing pretend doctor. She'd be like, I'm here to fix a heart, not play with a teddy bear, but she'd manage. She'd still get frustrated though when a 5-year-old tells her to shut up and play while she's trying to work. Each character has a perfect specialty match, but throw them in any of these roles. Chaos would definitely ensue. Oh, right, Leah Murphy. How could we forget that she's practically the poster child for what not to do when it comes to human decency? So, apparently there was this post floating around where people were actually defending her over Shane Ross. The argument? That her HR complaint was somehow justified. Sure, because a passive-aggressive, thinly veiled attack on Shane's character is definitely the high point of her career. But let's not get distracted. Remember when Leah, during the absolute worst moment of their intern class's existence, you know, when Heather Brooks was literally dying on the table, decided to throw gasoline on the fire by claiming Shane was gleefully happy about her death? Oh, and let's not forget how she also threw Stephanie Edwards under the bus, casually suggesting that Stephanie didn't like Heather. Real class act, right? Listen, I get it. Surgeons aren't exactly known for their warm and fuzzy side, but Lee's actions here, mask off, people. This wasn't just low empathy. This was her choosing to make the darkest moment even worse. She willingly spread more pain, more hatred, and of course, more distrust. It's like she doesn't believe in anything good about people, assuming everyone is as selfish and deceitful as she is. Now, professionally, Leah can probably keep it together just enough to look normal. But after this, I can't unsee her true colors. If the way you behave in life or death moments is a real test of character, Leah's core is, well, it's definitely rotten. Now, I'm not saying she's evil. Maybe main character syndrome is a more accurate label. Seriously, the way she acted like everything was some personal attack on her. The way she couldn't even acknowledge her own flaws but was so quick to point out everyone else's. Classic Leah. And let's talk about that HR complaint, because it was absolutely bonkers. She targets Callie, who had literally just found out about Arizona's inappropriate relationship with a student. Meanwhile, Leah's concerned that this drama somehow impacted her education. Girl, please, if that's not the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, I don't know what is. Oh, I called it. This show is like a textbook at this point. The second Teddy and Owen decided to have an open marriage, I knew exactly how it was going to play out. Teddy was going to bail on it, and Owen, of course, wouldn't. And what do you know? I was right. Owen follows through, and Teddy gets all mad, acting like he cheated. Classic. I'm honestly so over their relationship. They can both take a hike. Teddy and Karasik? Now they had something real. They were actually good together. But nope, let's drive this out some more with their back and forth. But oh yeah, it's so predictable now, but you best believe I'm still watching. Lungfo, I'm hooked even if I'm rolling my eyes every 10 minutes. They should have just written those two off already. They have no idea what to do with them at this point. I wish their whole open marriage drama lasted more than 2 episodes. It felt like a total waste, honestly. I would have actually been curious to see how they navigated as an open relationship couple, 2 cheaters trying to make it work. That could have been interesting. And, I mean, are they ever going to address the fact that Teddy had some deep emotional connection to Brooke Davis? Because that feels a little important. And by the way, isn't there a way to hide spoilers in text? Like, you can't even see the flag until you open the comments, and then boom, there it is, ruining everything. Is it too naive to not hate characters? It feels like there's so much hate swirling around in fandoms these days. Don't get me wrong, I've got opinions, and sure, some are stronger than others. But isn't the point of a character to stir up drama, suspense, and discussion? Otherwise, what would even be the point of a show? If every relationship worked out perfectly, there wouldn't be couples to root for or root against, no villains to despise. Drama needs conflict to exist. Take Alex, for example. His character arc wasn't just about being a jerk. He started off rough around the edges, but that's the point, he grew. He learned how to be human, how to care about others. Sure, he messed up, but that's what made his journey worth watching. Cristina's arc is similar. She begins as cold and ruthless, practically a machine. But over time, she starts caring for her patients, teaching others, and, heaven forbid, actually talking to families. She didn't stay static, and that growth is what made her compelling. Every character has their defenders and detractors, and that's fine. There are valid arguments on both sides. But shouldn't we respect all characters, even if we disagree? Is that too naive? At the end of the day, people are going to feel how they feel. I personally don't understand why anyone would watch a show and constantly harp on about characters they claim to hate. I've got characters I'm not crazy about, but I don't get to the point of full-blown hatred. If I ever did, like I did in season 15, when the bad started outweighing the good, I just stop watching. I need to at least like the characters, even if I'm frustrated with some of their choices. I'll still root for them in some way. But hey, the posts that get the most attention are the rage bait ones. Want to talk about something you love? Boring. Want to talk about how Owen yelled at Cristina for the 500th time? Now we're talking. People love that. And let's be honest, that's what gets the most traction on places like Reddit. It's all about the drama, right? Personally, I don't hate any of the characters, but sure, I've been angry with all of them at one point or another. Richard? I wanted to throw him out a window from seasons 3 to 6, but by season 7, he was one of my favorites. That's how shows are supposed to be enjoyed, right? Sometimes your favorite character does something you can't stand, and sometimes your least favorite character does something that makes you cheer. Conflict is what makes it all interesting. I still don't get why people hated Sadie so much. Sure, she wasn't the most lovable, but she added so much to Meredith's backstory. Cutting her character short was a missed opportunity. Not every character needs to be universally liked to be compelling. This is actually the third post I've seen in the past 48 hours acknowledging how much hate there is in fandoms. The first two came from totally different shows, Chicago Med and Yellow Jackets. Seems like it's a trend everywhere. Look, I'm not exactly Team Sloan here, but credit where credit's due. Her one good decision was definitely not giving that baby to Mark. I mean, the guy was practically oozing, "I need redemption" with his whole, "I can raise this baby and make everything right" spiel. Like, seriously? It was less about actually wanting the kid and more about him projecting his guilt over missing out on Sloan's life. He didn't want a baby. He wanted to make up for being a crap partner. This was his desperate need for a second chance, not the desire to be a father. Let's be real. If Sloan was closer to him, she probably would have handed the baby over, though to be fair, it's not like she was all about being a good co-parent. She didn't even want to know him. She made it clear to Callie that Mark was just a last resort, and she didn't exactly pick him for his charm. Sure, she's awful for using him like she did, but who in their right mind would hand their baby over to a guy who bailed on them, only to find out he'd been getting cozy with half the city? That kid deserved a fresh start, not Mark's emotional baggage. Sloan was right. She'd feel trapped by obligation if Mark got the baby. And honestly, Mark, he was just doing it for all the wrong reasons. It's great that he figured out what he really wants, but let's not forget, he used Sloan as much as she used him. Oh, that scene. Classic awkwardness, isn't it? So here's the deal. In Grey's Anatomy Season 19, Episode 9, we're treated to Lucas following Griffith to her bedroom. Because, of course, that's the natural progression of their relationship, right? And then he proceeds to hit her with some of the most cringeworthy lines ever written. First, he tells her she's perfect even when you're angry, which, okay, sure. But then, brace yourself, he says. When you get mad, you get smarter. Like, thanks for the unsolicited analysis of my emotional state, dude. Then, just when you think it can't get worse, he tops it off with, "Right now, you look like someone about to solve a big mystery." Cue the eye roll. And then, obviously, they kiss. Because why not add a forced, awkward makeout session on top of everything else? Seriously, who wrote this? It's as if they had a checklist of every cliché romantic line and decided to tick off each one for maximum discomfort. The chemistry? Yeah, there isn't any. They could have been great friends, but no, we're stuck with this awkward, uncomfortable, force-fed romance. Normally, I can shrug off the random romantic subplots, but this one? It's like nails on a chalkboard. Truly nauseating.